Hello, it's me and Sarah, and we're
Hi.
we're live. We're gonna be talking about Mexican Gothic. We'll wait a few minutes
For humans to
for
arrive.
people because right now it's just me and Sarah, and like we've been talking about this book all day.
As
So
soon as we have at least 3 people in here, I'm taking this mask off.
I know poor
I
Sarah
hate
is
it.
dying. I thought it would be fun to be like all Halloweeny and like
It
dress up.
hurts.
And so I decided like we don't need full on costumes because we're just sitting in my room talking to a camera. So I thought, well, we'll just get masks. And so I got a cool skull one. Hi, Carla. Happy
Hi.
Halloween. So I got this skull mask because I like skulls, and Sarah got this cute mask, but mine is like easier to take on and off. Like I
This
can
is
just
like
pop it on top of my
plastic
head.
mask. Mine is fancy and really uncomfortable.
But we didn't realize that Sarah's was like a lot more complicated to put on, so she's dying. So I see 4 people are here. So take it off, Sarah.
Heck
Lose
yes.
the mask. Hi, Dania. But I wanted to do something Halloweeny because I know our October book isn't that scary. It's more of a thriller, and we'll probably end up doing the live show at the beginning of November, and Sarah won't be participating. So I wanted to do Halloween today. And oh, I forgot to check this. Let's fix that. Excuse me. Where are we?
Yes, I'm gonna be absent for the next live show because
Sarah's abandoning me.
because of college and other stuff. So I'm just opting out for the month.
How dare you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, anywho, I'm going to keep my mask on for a little bit because it's not as bothersome as Sarah's, and I think it's cute. I like it. I'm probably going to put this up as like home decor after this. It'll just live in my room. Okay, so since we got 7 people here now, so let's start chatting about Mexican Gothic. So I thought we would start with our overall thoughts. I know, Sarah, you read this like over a month ago.
2 months ago.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I hope you remember stuff. Sarah, think back, okay? So, what are your thoughts about the story?
Let's see. I'm a really big fan of Gothic literature in general, so I was really excited for this book just because it was a new recent Gothic, since most of the Gothic I've read is like classics. I was really excited to see how Sylvia Moreno Garcia was going to take on the genre, and I thought it was really fun. I feel like there's a lot of fun subversions of the genre, while also like making references to like popular Gothic stories, so I thought it was just a really fun read.
I thought it was really fun too. I mean, I'm not as an expert in Gothic lit as you are. Like I joke that Sarah's an expert because she took 1 class. But I don't think I've read quite as much Gothic lit, but I do enjoy it whenever I pick it up. So I thought this was a really interesting take on Gothic stories. And I liked, like you said, the subversion, how she just changed things just enough to make it more modern. And I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars.
I also gave it 4 stars.
So, okay, let's talk about characters. I want to start with Noemi, which I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. I tried to look up like how to pronounce it. I think it's Noemi.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I really liked Noemi. I really liked that she was very capable, that she was a really strong, like confident woman, and she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She was not the typical like Gothic waif. Yeah. What word do I want? You know, the like helpless
The Gothic
girl.
heroine that
Yes.
isn't really a heroine.
Yes. So she was never helpless. Like I felt like she was in control of the situation the entire time. And no matter what they threw at her, she managed to like stand above it and take charge. And I just thought that was great. I would say Catalina was definitely more of your typical Gothic heroine. She was helpless and needed rescuing. And I liked that Noemi is the one that was doing the rescuing. It wasn't waiting for some man. Like I liked that Francis was also really weak. And he was also kind of the Gothic heroine.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't really able to do the things that he thought he should be able to do in order to rescue them. Like he was kind of worthless as far as being rescued. Like I don't know, they were rescuing him just as much as he was rescuing them. So I thought that was really an interesting way to play out that trope of like this helpless heroine that needs rescuing. So I thought that was good. Did somebody just say there's a show? There's a show. Are they actually filming this? Is it going to be a TV show or a movie?
Yeah, it was picked up by Amazon.
You know,
I'm pretty sure it was picked up by someone.
I knew
it's like a mini series.
Something was, but I had it in my head it was a different book.
No, it's Mexican Gothic.
Nice. That could be interesting. I know that like Rebecca is also being adapted or has been adapted. I think it's actually going to be on this month. That's another of my favorite Gothic stories. But okay, try to stay on topic, Emily. So yeah, that'll be cool to see the show. Oh, the costumes are going to be great. I liked the 1950s vibe. I like the those kinds of costumes. So that's going to be really pretty. I'm excited to see all of that, to see High Place and all of that. So let's talk about, we talked about Catalina, Noemi, and Francis. They were like the victims, I guess. Well, let's talk about the antagonists, Virgil and, was it Florence? And Howard? Is that the uncle? Yeah. I was struggling with all the names for some reason. I kept mixing people up. Anyway, so what do you think of them as characters?
Very creepy. Which I mean,
yeah.
is to be expected, I guess.
I would say Florence is your typical, just like nasty, rude, pushy woman. Like that wasn't anything new. Virgil was weird. I felt very creeped out by him the entire time just because he's just like icky.
Like Virgil is the character that you knew was the villain from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, he was definitely the villain.
Francis was just confusing for the most of the beginning and most of it, honestly. But like,
Virgil
was an immediate. Well, yeah, he's the bad guy. There's no doubt about that.
Honestly, like I kept forgetting that Howard was there.
Yeah, Howard's pretty background.
Yeah, he doesn't really do a whole lot in the story besides once in a while pop in and say something really just like, why would you come in here and say that? Like all of the eugenics stuff. I was just like, well, that's weird conversation for a dinner party. Like what? So I don't know. He was kind of weird, but yeah, Virgil was just straight up disturbing. I did not like him. I don't understand how he managed to get Catalina to marry him. Like I don't even think he can try to be charming. So I would like almost like a short story. Like I want to see what went down there because I feel like he was slipping her some mushroom early on to get her to even think to marry him. I mean, I know they said it was very whirlwind. So maybe she didn't give her time to think it through, but I don't know. I would think that Catalina would be smarter than that just because Noemi is so self-aware and has a strong sense of what she wants in life, that Catalina would also at least have some of that, to be aware enough to stay away from someone like Virgil. But I don't know, they did make a point of like, it happened so fast that no one could really do anything about it until it was too late. But I don't know, that just felt a little weird to me. But I kind of think of Florence as just being rude and obnoxious. Like I like in a story when the villain is just like so obviously a villain and you know at some point they're going to like get their comeuppance. I don't know. I really like that. That's probably one of my favorite aspects of reading stories like this. It's just seeing them fall and like it knowing that that's coming. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the plot twist because I did not see that coming.
Honestly, that's the kind of plot twist that I don't think you're supposed to see coming. It's just too left field.
It is very like, okay, my face is starting to sweat. I'm going to put this up now. Sorry. So, but yeah, that was very out of left field. Like, I don't know. Like, I read it and I went, like, I had to like set the book down for a minute and decide if I was going to continue because for a second I was just like, no. Mushrooms?
Like, I knew there was going to be something mushroom related going in just because I remember seeing a tweet that someone said that this Mexican Gothic ruined mushrooms for him. And I was just like, what does that even mean? So I like had the idea there was going to be something weird to do with mushrooms, but that wasn't what I thought it was going to be.
I didn't know that at all. So I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be more ghosts and supernatural. So getting hit with mushrooms being the thing was
Okay.
just
We ate
weird.
mushrooms for dinner
We
today.
did have mushrooms in our dinner tonight. We had pizza with mushrooms. So there you go. But I'm clearly not affected enough by the story to give up mushrooms. But I just didn't see it coming. And I almost like was that would ruin the book for me because I was just not expecting it and I didn't like it at first. But by the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, okay, I can see how this works. But it also made me question a lot of the things that were happening in the story, like how much of it was actually supernatural and how much of it was just being high. Because, like, is the gloom really a thing? Were they actually just tripping on mushrooms the whole time and it was just messing with their minds? I don't know. And like I want to believe it was somehow something supernatural and that there was this gloom and the Agnes ghost was really like because of the mushrooms. But also I'm like, is it just drugs? Are they on a lot of drugs? I don't know.
I mean, I guess you could say that's Gothic, and that there's a question of is it actually real or not. Also,
I guess
wasn't
that's true.
getting those vibes.
That's true.
I was pretty much in it like, oh yeah, this is very obviously fantasy. But I mean, I guess you could.
I guess you could interpret it either way. It could be just straight fantasy and like, yeah, these mushrooms really do this. Or it could be, well, people get really drugged up and they lose their minds a little bit. And I don't know. And I don't know if I fully understood the whole thing with I don't even know what the word they use now when Howard was gonna like become Virgil or become Francis. I thought I was expecting it to go the other way, but what the heck is that? I don't know if I understand. Did that make sense to you?
I mean, it's been 2 months.
Like become as in come on, Sarah. Like become him as in like he is now like his mind is in Francis's body.
Yeah, I was assuming that he was taking over their body.
But it's still Howard. So Francis would no longer be Francis, he would be Howard. Ew, I don't like it. Like, I don't know, you haven't watched it, but there's a whole thing on the show, The 100, that kind of has a plot like that, where these people have like made themselves into gods and they put their like they have like a hard drive basically of themselves that they insert into people and take over their body. And every time a body gets used up, they just put themselves in a new one.
Or something similar to that in the original Fullmetal Alchemist anime too.
Yeah, so like that's what I was like, is that what's happening? Is he like inserting his hard drive into Francis? Obviously it's not hard drive, but that idea of that wasn't something that was a new concept. I just wasn't sure I was understanding how it was happening. Like, was it magic?
If it's drugs, then
I mean, I guess so. Maybe he's just really high and thinks that that's what's happening. I don't know, but they made it seem like this was like a thing he'd done before. So I was very curious as to like, who's the real Howard? It's not this guy. If he's done this before, like, how far back did this go? Did they? I swear I remember like 300 years, but I might be hallucinating that. Too many mushrooms, but I don't know if it was actually 300 years. So yeah, that was kind of a weird concept that I wish had been more elaborated on, because I feel like there was more there. I knew it was hundreds. I couldn't remember if it was 300 years or just like 100 years. But yeah, I wish there had been more about that, because I felt like it was almost out of nowhere that this was the thing that was going to happen, and it wasn't really well explained beyond he's done this before and now he's going to do it to Francis. I thought it would make more sense to do it to Virgil, but
I think it was because Francis was trying to pull away.
And he's a little weaker.
Yeah.
Maybe it's easier with a weaker mind. Yeah. But yeah, I wish that there had been more about that. I don't know. Even just like a little bit more information would have been nice to have, because I feel like it was just sort of thrown in and not elaborated on at all. So I don't know. And I didn't understand how it worked at all. Like, is it a spell? Are they doing a spell? Or is it something more like eating all these mushrooms will make this happen? I don't know. I didn't understand it. So like, I understood how it worked in the 100. I don't know how they do it here. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about High Place, because I liked how like weirdly creepy it was. There was no moment where this was a beautiful house where you might like have a fantasy like high society life. This wasn't like that kind of a house. This was a straight up almost a haunted house from the beginning. Like walking towards the house was just disturbing. So in that aspect, I kind of thought it reminded me a bit about The Haunting of Hill House, because it was a very dark, like ominous presence in the story, and you knew from the beginning that there was something wrong with the house. And so, and also with Catalina like going crazy, I just felt like there was a lot of similarity there with Hill House. And what was the character's name in that? What was the girl's name in that? I can't remember. Eleanor? Yeah. So Catalina and Eleanor had a lot of similarities, I thought, of just this house makes you lose your mind. And I wasn't wrong. The house was making them lose their minds, just not in the way that I thought. I thought it was more to do with ghosts, and there was some hints at the beginning too, like there's ghosts in these walls and that sort of thing. So I really thought it was more ghosty.
I mean, the gloom is kind of ghosts. If
Is
you
it
think
though?
about it.
I mean, I guess. I kind of thought the gloom was more like just a source of memories.
I mean, ghosts are memories.
Ooh, deep. I guess that's true. Ghosts are memories, yes. Oh yes. Mickey says the cemetery made me think of the Poison Garden in Turn of the Key. I agree. It did. It had a lot of the same similarities. I felt like there was a lot of similarities with other Gothic stories. I saw a lot of Rebecca as well in this story, especially in like Catalina and Francis being that helpless, like, I don't know what's happening. Because even though Francis had grown up here and kind of did know what was happening, he just didn't really seem to understand like how to help anybody. Like he kept throwing out warnings like, you should leave. I think you should go. But like not explaining why. And of course she's like, some man's telling me I should leave, so of course I'm not gonna leave. How dare he? And like, I'm gonna stay and help. And like, I don't know, he wasn't going about it very well, I don't think. I think Francis meant well. I just think he was too, I don't know if he was weak because of being in that house for so long, or just weak in general, just out of being a good person. Like Virgil was never good. Like I don't think there was a time when Virgil was good. He was always in it for the power and the glory and the fame and the riches, whereas Francis just wanted to be and collect his mushrooms. And that like he didn't want any of the other stuff. So, and also at the end when they're burning the house, that really made me think of Rebecca. So that was actually the first thing I thought of when I read that was, oh, we're doing a Rebecca. Well, let's burn it to the ground. So do you think by burning down the house that they actually like fixed it? Did they end the gloom? Did they end the attachment that they all had to the house?
I kind of like that they left it slightly ambiguous, since there's no real way of knowing yet if there's still something in Francis, if the gloom is actually gone and he has no connection to it anymore, or if he still holds part of the gloom inside of him and will spread it elsewhere unknowingly.
Ooh, good question. Mickey says if it was spores, wouldn't that release it? Yeah. Well, I think they'd mentioned something too, like these mushrooms aren't gonna burn like the rest of the house did. What would that do? Do you think by releasing it and the spores were like dispersed into the air over a larger area, do you think that would make them less potent? I don't know. I think I'm overthinking it too. But I don't know. I kept wondering, honestly, the whole like second half of the book, I kept waiting for Francis to turn on her. I thought for sure Francis was going to go Virgil and he was just going to like, actually, I'm evil. And, like the whole time. And like a couple of times there was a moment where I was like, it's about to happen. And then it didn't. I was just so sure of it though the whole time that he was going to be evil, just like the rest of his family. But at no point did he actually go evil. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm disappointed in that or if I liked it. I can't decide yet. Like, I don't know.
I never really got those vibes from him. Like at
No.
the beginning, I was
I'm
a
just
little suspicious,
untrustworthy of
but
anyone in one of these situations. Like everyone could be against me, so I'm gonna assume all of you are evil until proven otherwise. I don't know. Especially just because he was so useless in his help. And I'm like, is he useless because he's trying to keep her here? Or is he useless because he's useless? I don't know. I was never sure. Um, let's discuss some of the dreams. I think that was the most disturbing element of the book,
Yeah.
honestly, were the dream sequences and the sleepwalking and that sort of thing. Because I never knew if it was really happening or if she's actually dreaming. Like, for example, the dream she had with Virgil. Did he actually, like, was that happening? Because he remembered it. So I'm like, wait, is it not a dream? Did this actually happen? I don't know. That was very eerie
Yeah.
to me. Like, was she actually dreaming? Or again, is she just super high from the mushrooms? Like, I don't know what was happening there. And it wasn't really explained at all. So I don't know what we're supposed to take that as. Was it a dream or was she just tripping on mushrooms?
It's
I'm not
Gothic,
sure.
who knows?
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's left for us to decide, I guess. But I don't know. I can't decide what I even think. Like, part of me wants it to be more ghostly and like this was actually in her mind and they're just connected through the gloom. But was she at that point? Did she have enough of the stuff in her body to connect through the gloom? I don't know. I mean, is it just enough to breathe the air in the house? Was that before or after she was seeing the weird patterns with the mold? I don't remember. Because maybe by that point, when she's starting to see the mold moving and like kaleidoscoping, that made me think of migraines. And I didn't like that. I was like, oh, don't look at it. But I don't know. It was very ambiguous as to what was really happening there. And I'm not sure how to interpret it. But I definitely, I don't know, part of me likes that it's open for me to decide what I think was happening. And part of me is frustrated because I just want them to tell me. I want to know, like, explain it. I don't know. But also the decay, I guess that has to do with just the house in general being so eerie and dark and full of moldy mushrooms. I don't know. I mean, scientifically, if you breathe in enough mold, you will make yourself sick. So that makes sense to me. But I don't know. That was really an interesting take on Gothic literature to me.
Yeah. It's not. I
This
don't
is
know.
like
Like,
stabbing me in the head.
I feel like this book is borderline Gothic and horror because.
Oh yeah. Well, I would call it Gothic horror.
Yeah, because like regular like straight Gothic is a lot more ambiguous and doesn't really show a lot. And this book definitely shows a lot more of the grosser elements that most Gothic would fade to black or not go into at all.
Yeah, I definitely felt there was a few moments where I'd expected to not know as much of what was happening. Okay, Mickey said, was the house decaying because they didn't have the money to fix it or because they needed it to decay? Ooh, that's an interesting thought. Why would they need it to decay? Like for the spores to be more potent?
I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, she does mention that the mold a lot in the story.
Yeah.
She's constantly noticing all these different, like there's a lot of mold, and it made me wonder, like, what the heck are they like doing? Why is this fancy house? They're clearly wealthy. Like I know that they talk about they were wealthy and not as much anymore, but they made a point of saying that Catalina, he married her for her money, so they have the money to fix this. But maybe they didn't want to fix it because that was what was the source of the spores, and the mold was like making them what they are. I don't know.
It's so gross.
It is. It was so gross. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to stay in that. I would have been like, this is icky and it's very creepy and all of you are rude. That's the other thing that was really bothering me the whole time was that they make such a point of they want Noemi because they think she's a better like broodmare than Catalina is. Why are they being so rude? Like, I don't want to stay here if people are being terrible and rude and nasty to me. Wouldn't you think that they would like try to make her want to stay instead of like being a bunch of assholes and pushing her away? Like, I'm like, this makes no sense. If you want her to be here and you want her to want to stay, be nice. Like, it'll go a lot better if you're not jerks all the time. Like, I don't think they can be nice though. And I like, even though they make a point in the beginning of pointing out like, oh, your skin's darker and we think you're beneath us, then turn it around and go, actually, we think you're going to be great for having babies. So, like, what is happening here? I don't know. I felt that they were just really icky people, and I would have gotten out of there so much sooner. I don't know why. I get it's the 50s, and maybe it was just the way things were, but I don't understand why Noemi was allowing Catalina to be treated like that and allowing them to tell her, oh no, you can't see your cousin, you have to stay away, and we'll let you know when we feel like allowing you to see her for 5 minutes once a week, and that's it. Like, no, that's my cousin, I'm taking her home, end of discussion. Like, it was just so weird how controlling and bossy they were and how much Noemi was just like letting it happen. I don't know. Do you have thoughts on that?
I think you went over it pretty well. I can't quite figure out how Catalina ended up in that relationship.
I can't either, and I don't get it, because at no point was Virgil anything but icky.
Because they make a point, I'm trying to remember since it was been a little while, but like they make a point to see it as a very romantic view on things and love stories.
Yeah, they did. And like, there's nothing about Virgil that fits what she would be looking for in a man. So I can't help but wonder what Virgil did to convince her that he was that thing that she was looking for. Besides that he was handsome, I don't know, but even being handsome, like, you can be attractive and be so gross as a human that like I'm repelled by you, and like I can't imagine what he could have possibly done to convince her. Like, I don't know. That was one of the hangups I had. That's one of the things that like kept it from being a 5-star, was that there was just too many things that I was like, would this really have happened? Would she really have married him? I don't know. And for them to be such a tight-knit family and for her to just like leave and get married away, like, that didn't feel plausible to me. Like, I don't know. It was weird. And I did wonder, like, is he feeding her mushrooms as he's introducing himself to her to convince her? Like, is she so weakened now that she doesn't know any better? But I don't know. I'm left wondering a lot about that. I don't know. I think we went over everything I wrote down just in natural conversation. So do you guys have any other thoughts and questions or things to talk about the story? Would you read more of Silvia Moreno Garcia's work after this? I know you've read certain dark things. I've read, what did I read? Signal to Noise, and what was that? Untamed Shore. Yeah, I got a early, an arc of Untamed Shore at the beginning of the year, and I really like that. That's her like 1970s Mexican noir. It was a little bit weird, but I really liked it. So this is my third of her stories, and I'm definitely going to read more. What was the one I have on my Kindle that I kept saying I need to get a physical copy because it's so pretty? What is that one called?
Gods of Jade and Shadow.
Thank you. Gods of Jade and Shadow. That's probably the next book of hers that I'm going to read, because I just am like really intrigued by that story. By the cover, it's just so pretty. I don't know what that's like, a Mayan road trip is what I've been hearing about it.
But certain dark things.
And I know I do want to read Certain Dark Things, but I want to wait until the new one is released because she's re-releasing it with a new chapter or two. Isn't that what I heard? There's new material in it. I don't know if it's a new chapter
I don't know.
or just new within.
I'm not sure exactly because I know they're doing arcs, so I'm not sure if that means that like it's a revised version of the book, like she's like changed parts of it.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but I'm definitely going to buy a copy and give you back your copy.
Oh no, I want to read the new one. Yeah, I bought that ages ago because it's a vampire book, and those are always things that I pick up. But yeah, one of the things I really like about Sylvia Moreno Garcia is how different each of her stories are, but also there's always like this underlying like feel to all of them that are just really similar. Like I could always tell that this is one of her books. And I don't know, I just think that's really interesting. And also that they're all set in Mexico, which honestly, you don't see that very often. So that's a really interesting take because so often you think of Mexico, or in stories Mexico is shown as like, we don't talk about this place beyond like this is where people go vacation. And so it's nice to see like people in Mexico, living in Mexico, doing things that people do in other kinds of books, like Gothic literature and that sort of thing. So I really like that. And vampires, yeah. And road trips with Mayan gods. Like that's the one I really want to read next because it just sounds like fun. So yeah, definitely going to read more of her work. Eventually I want to read all of it. I want to see what she does next because everything's so different.
Yeah.
Maybe a rom-com. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think she'd write that.
I think
Although
most
you
of
never
her
know.
books tend to be on the darker side.
They do tend to be on the darker side. Like even Signal to Noise is probably like the closest she's ever gotten to like a YA. And that one had a lot of underlying darkness to it. So it was probably the most lighthearted of her books. But anywho, I will definitely read more of her stuff. This mask is like weird on my head. It looks like a weird, like, I don't know what's going on there.
It looks like a bird.
It
or
does
like
look
an
kind of
owl.
bird like. You're right, it does. I look like I have an owl on my head. So, ooh. Next month's book, or this month's book, I should say, because it's October. We're like already almost halfway through October. I don't know what's happening anymore. Time is just beyond me. But this is what we'll be reading. Sarah Waters, The Night Watch. What I'll be reading, and you will hopefully be reading. Sarah's gonna abandon me because she has better things to do.
I have so much stuff going on.
I know, I'm kidding. Sarah's busy. Well, you're doing what? You're doing all your college courses, plus you're doing the civils. Sarah's a civils judge this year. So she's going to be reading a huge stack of books for that. So it's fine. I can handle this on my own. I'm excited to pick this up, honestly, because I've been just dying to read more of Sarah Waters. And I don't know, anything World War II gets me hype. So.
Are there backs on the cover?
No. Oh, yes, there is. There is. See, I have this whole theory that every World War II book written for adults has a person with their back facing on the cover. It's a thing, honestly. I don't know why it's a thing, but it's a thing. Go to any bookstore, grab like a handful of World War II books, back to the back to you on the cover. It's a thing. I don't know why they do that. But anywho, I'm excited to pick this up because I want to see what else she can do. Like, I love Fingersmith so much just because the plot twists were so good that I just never knew what the heck was going on, because every time I thought I was following the story and I had it, there would be a twist and I'd be like, wait a second. Like, it happened over and over again. It wasn't just like one twist. It was like a whole sequence of them throughout the story. And it just blew my mind. So I've been dying to read something else. So we're going to read The Night Watch and see what we think of that.
I might still be reading Sarah Waters this month, though, because I have Tipping the Velvet in my stack for a class.
Well, that's her circus book, right?
It's not circuses.
No? Was it like a sideshow?
I
thought it had some...
It has to do with performance, but
like
not...
vaudeville? Or like... I got the feeling that they were like acrobats.
Something like that, but
That's
it's
why
not
I had circus. Okay.
Although I did see it on a circus book list, so I'm very conflicted now. I'm like,
Well, I was pretty sure
not
it was circus.
but it is circus, but it's not.
Because they're like acrobats.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Have you read that? I don't know. I own it. I bought it ages ago. Like I literally I read Fingersmith, went, this is amazing, and bought a whole bunch of her books and then never read any of them. I think I'm sort of afraid that none of her other books are going to live up to Fingersmith because I've just built it up in my head as like such an amazing read. So I hope that I haven't ruined.
Tipping the Velvet is her debut, right?
I have no idea.
Pretty sure that was
I have not researched that at all. Honestly, when I got Fingersmith, I bought it as an ebook deal. It was like on sale for $1.99 or something, and I bought it on a whim just because I thought the name was weird. And then I ended up reading it fairly soon after buying it. So that never happens. I usually buy books and then forget that I bought them, and they just sit on my shelves for years before I get around to them. I am terrible about that. So the fact that I read it right away was weird.
The book was meant to be.
It was. So anyhow, we'll be reading The Night Watch. I'm thinking the live show will be at the beginning of November, and that'll give us all plenty of time because this is a bigger book. I mean, it's not ridiculous. I think it's still, nope, it's over 500 pages. I was gonna say it's under 500, but it's not. Do you guys have weird reading habits? I always read the last, like, not even line, not sentence, but like the last couple of words in a book before I can start reading it. And only rarely has it spoiled me. But it's a habit I've had since I was a kid that I just have to do that. So.
My habit is I smell every book before I read it.
Yes.
And while I'm reading it.
You're a very sensory person. So Sarah likes to smell things. That's fine. But yeah, I always read the last couple of words in a book before I can start it. That's actually saved me once because my mom sent me a bag of books she was getting rid of, and I picked up, I don't know what it was. I picked up one of the books, flipped to the back, and the last page was missing. I was like, I can't read this. Imagine reading a whole book and you get to that and the last page is gone. The rage I would have felt, I would have been so upset. So I'm glad I did that and flipped to the back. Ah, did it really? Oh my gosh. Danny has said that happened with Unwind. You got to the end and the page was missing. I would have been just in tears. Oh no. Did you ever read the last page? Were you able to get the book out another time from somewhere else? That would just like haunt me to the end of my days. Like, I never read the last page. Oh, that's stressing me out. Oh,
God. I once read the last book in a series. I don't remember what book it was at library, and I just didn't read the last chapter. And it wasn't ripped out. I just didn't read it, and to this day, I still haven't read the last chapter. I don't know.
I've read books out of order before. What is that one series? The Air Affair, Jasper Fjord series. I read the second book without realizing it was a second book, and I kept thinking the whole time, like, they keep alluding to things. Like, what is happening right now? They were alluding to things that happened in book one that I should have known if I'd read it. So I don't recommend doing that. It's very frustrating. And no, I've never read the first book.
Oh, and I just saw a comment. Yeah, I got V.E. Schwab's newest book. I pre-ordered it, so I have it. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to reading it, though, because my Sybil stack is huge. And I'm afraid to read something that isn't YA for the next few months, because I'm like, I don't want to get behind. And especially, like, Addie LaRue is such a big book, so I'm scared.
What are you going to do if I read Addie LaRue before you?
That's not allowed. I'm going to read it before you, but
oh,
also,
are you? You stole Grown, didn't you? You're going to read that before me.
Honestly, that's doubtful.
I feel like it's payback.
Honestly, you'll probably end up reading it before me, but you're not allowed to read Addie LaRue before me. Unless you read Vengeful. If you read Vengeful, then I give you full permission to read Addie LaRue whenever you want.
You're making me not want to read Vengeful because you harp on it so much.
Because it's good.
Yeah. I'm sure it is, dear, but I'm not gonna read it right now.
You're not
I
reading
just
Addie
went full
Lou
mom.
either?
Anyway,
I actually have 2 copies. Like, I have my one as it was when I pre-ordered from Bookshop ages ago, but then and I have a signed copy coming eventually because of her online book tour. All of the tickets, you had to buy a book in order to access the live show, and so I'm going to have 2 copies of Addie Lou. So I don't know what I'm going to do with one of them since I
give
don't.
one away, Sarah.
I might do a giveaway, but I have to wait. I haven't gone tracking yet for my signed copy, so I have no idea
When
when
is
it's
the
coming.
what is it? I was wanting to say signing, but it's not a signing. When is the interview?
In a week or 2. It's in our Google Calendar.
That doesn't help me.
I don't remember the date, but you can look it up.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. I was gonna say, well,
I'm
that'll
pretty
give you
sure
an
it's
idea of
on
when the
a
book would come.
Sunday.
Okay.
I don't know which Sunday.
You would think
but
it'll be
it's a
pretty
Sunday.
soon, right?
Mhm.
I mean, when did the book come out? Last week?
Yes, I believe so. If it's not next week, it's the week after.
So what are you reading next, Sarah?
Um,
What book are you going to be picking up?
I'm picking up The Midnight Lie.
Is that what people voted for?
Yes, in my little Instagram poll. The snake flower was The Midnight Lie by Murray something. I don't remember the author's last name.
Starts with an R.
Yes. Murray something starts with an R.
That's all I remember. I don't know what that book is, honestly.
It's,
I like the cover, it's
honestly-
pretty, but I don't know what the story is supposed
I
to
don't
be.
know anything about the plot. I just know that it's very gay.
And
Like very
snaky.
sapphic, yes.
Snakes?
So,
Gay snakes?
yes.
I was going to say snakes and gay, but then I was like, gay snakes.
I don't think it's gay snakes. I think they're
That would be
human.
great.
I'm 90% sure the characters are human.
Okay. Well, it's less fun.
But there might be snakes in it, because there's 2 snakes on the cover, so if there's not at least one snake in the book, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Oh, I know what I was going to do. Wait, I can't reach. It's behind you. Woo! So, I want to throw out there that the November book is going to be The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I really want to read this, and I decided if I make it a book club selection, we'll read it. But I don't want to do book club in December because Christmas is just chaos, and I don't want to be dealing with this at the end of the month. So I'm going to say that we'll stretch that out a little bit and maybe do it like early December, like we did with this one, really. Push it at the beginning of December for the live show. So I'm letting you guys know early. So if you're interested, you can get a copy because I know this is like brand new. So I don't know. It might be harder to get through your library if you're using your library to get the books. So putting it out there so you can request it early enough that you'll be able to get your hands on a copy. Because I am like really excited to pick this up. I've been hyped for it for a while because I follow Matt Haig on Twitter and stuff. So I see him talking about it for the last couple of months and I've just been really intrigued. So I'm excited. I even went and bought the UK edition because I just thought this was such a pretty cover. When I saw the one we get in America, I was like, oh, why do we get such an ugly book? It's just not as nice looking.
Editions are always
They
better.
are, but I just thought this was such a better book cover that I don't know why they
Also,
didn't keep it.
That's the BTS logo on it.
Excuse me? What now?
That's the BTS logo.
What does that have to do with my book?
I don't know. Every time I see that book, I'm like, huh. BTS logo.
Confused. That's weird. I don't know what that is, but I'm excited about this cover, and now I'm curious, and I must find out why that's the BTS logo on the book. That's weird. So anyway, I'm just going to put that out in advance so people can get their hands on a copy of it. So you'll be able to read it in time for our live show in early December.
I'll probably participate in that
You
one.
should, because I know you wanted to read this too.
Yeah.
So since you're skipping out on me next month for the live this month, what am I doing? I don't know, guys. I'm having the hardest time keeping track of time right now. Like, it's ridiculous. It's becoming a problem because I just keep thinking it can't possibly already be October
You're becoming more like
And
me.
we're already nearly halfway through October. What am I doing? It's ridiculous. And it's gotten me into trouble a couple of times because I really like had things that were done, were supposed to be done by a certain point. And I'm like, oh no, I have like 2 or 3 weeks still. And it's like, no, it's due tomorrow.
The pandemic is just turning even to me.
I'm stressed out. I don't like
have
it.
no concept of time.
I used to be very good about
I
time.
didn't have concept of time even before the pandemic. Like, just time doesn't exist. Like, I blame the pandemic when I forget things and get my days mixed up, but that has nothing to do with it.
I don't know. I think
It's
it
just
does.
me.
Because I was not like this before.
Well, you weren't.
I had a better grasp on time. And then suddenly I don't know what's happening anymore and time no longer matters and I'm done with it. It's stressful. I don't like it. So, want to talk about anything else? There's like a little fly in here. It's driving me crazy.
Maybe the fly read Mexican Gothic and
I
has
think it
something
did.
to say.
It did.
Weren't enough fly is in the book, and the fly was upset about that. I don't know. I'm just gonna stop talking.
You're rambling about nonsense. It's cute. Also, do you guys like this setup? I might film in here more. This is my little office nook I created, and I did
There's fun colors in the background.
I did. I just thought of doing that. I forgot my lamp does that. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool? So I don't know. Is that distracting or cool? I can't decide.
I mean, I forgot it was there until you drew attention to it.
Yes. But I like my little setup in here. It's cozy. So I wasn't sure I was going to be able to squeeze Sarah in though, because I did a Facebook Live yesterday for Build Your Library, and I'm sitting here like, this is too tight for Sarah to fit.
No, I'm
But
small.
Sarah says no. So
I can fit anywhere.
I guess so. You're tiny. I can just stick you in my pocket. So, except that you're taller than me. I don't know. Except I'm sitting on a pillow, so I look taller now because I'm the mom.
Yes. Well,
In fact, yes. So, but anyway, I might film in here more because now that I've found my ring light I bought ages ago and then immediately lost. So, now that I have that, I can actually film in here. It was always too dark. My room is really gloomy during the day because there's only one window. We have one window, but it's on the side of the house. It doesn't get any light, so it's always dark in
You
here.
used to have a skylight, but then you immediately boarded it
we boarded up the skylight because it was leaky and it was annoying. So now our room is just dark, but I have my light and now I can film in here. So, and I can hide. I can close the door and the dog doesn't come in, and usually the kids don't come in. That's not true. They come in when I'm working, but not when I'm filming. So anyway, it's nice and quiet in here sometimes. I like how I'm like, I need an office space so that I can get away from the people and concentrate. And then I come up here and all the people come in. It's like, why are you guys here?
Because we love you.
I love you too, but go away. Mommy's working. Sarah's my shadow and has been since she was a baby. So I don't know what I'll do when she leaves for good. If she leaves for good.
I'm gonna leave soon. Soon. That.
Yes. Sarah literally will come in here and just sit on the floor next to my chair. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Child, you're an adult. Go do something else.
The bed is too high up to sit on, to hang out with you properly.
But when I was sitting downstairs on the couch, you'd come sit on the floor there too.
Because there's nowhere else on the couch to sit. You had most of the couch blocked off.
So, I always used to say that Sarah was my puppy because she would just come sit at my feet and hang still as an adult. It's fine. It's cute. I'll miss her when she leaves. And Regina comes in here too and just like brings all the noise and the chaos. She's a whirlwind. Anyhow, we got so off topic. I don't even know what we were trying to talk about
what was
anymore.
This live show for again?
I don't know. A book, I think. Did we read a thing? I've had a struggle reading this whole like last month. I've just it's been hard.
Yeah.
I was just telling Sarah, like, I'm just like at that place Right? It's been so long since I picked up a book that I was just really invested. Like, I don't know. I miss that. I miss being in a world where I like don't want to leave the book. And I haven't had that in a while. And I just like really need it. I need a book to like pull me out of this nonsense 2020 that we're in. I need something. So I hope I find a book that can do that. I've only read like a handful of books. I was just saying, like, I don't know what my top 10 is going to be this year because I don't feel like I've read enough things that were in that realm that I have a top 10.
You
I
have a
might
top
only,
5?
I might have a top 5 this year, perhaps an 8. I don't know if I'm going to quite make to 10, but I guess we'll see. There's still a little bit of time. Maybe I'll read something amazing in the next 2 months. But I'm just dying to find that book because oh yes, House in the Cerulean Sea is definitely in that top whatever number I end up with because that was one of the best books I read this year, as is the seven husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Yes, that's definitely in my top. And We Are Not Free, that is in my top. That's probably my favorite book I read this year.
I'm gonna be reading that soon because it was nominated for Sybil's. You nominated.
I nominated it for the Sybil's because I was like, I'm gonna make Sarah read this book.
I was gonna read it, but
you would eventually read it, but I wanted to make you read it now. Yes, the Night Circus was in 2020. That was back when the world was normal. Way back.
See that's I'm so far away from me.
I know. I keep forgetting that was this year.
I read it last year. I finished the book when I was during the New York City trip.
Did you?
Yeah.
When the heck was that?
Kindle.
That was last year, right?
Yeah, it was in the summer.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago.
I miss normal life.
Yeah. Do you remember the book signing? We went to the beginning of the year.
Honestly, I was today scrolling through my Instagram, just like looking back, and I got to that book signing, and I went, "Oh my God! Remember when we could go and like see people? Do you remember?" That feels so long ago.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like it was this year. It was a different time.
It was January.
January was a different time. January isn't even part of 2020. I'm going to say January was its own thing. 2020 didn't really start until mid-March, and then everything fell apart. I don't know. Yeah. I'm looking forward to normal life again. I don't know when that'll happen. I just like miss the world and going out and doing things.
I was so happy when we went to Barnes & Noble recently.
I know.
That was the best thing. It was like the highlight of...
Yes, I miss options too. Like, I've always been a homebody. I don't go out very often. Like, I'm fine being home for the most part, but when I feel like I can't leave, like I have to be home, that just makes it like harder somehow. Like, my life hasn't actually changed that much, except that like I just feel depressed about it all the time. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
I'm different because I like to go places and travel, and like, I really wanted to travel this year. Like,
yeah.
And that obviously did not happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen.
Someday.
I just want to go somewhere that's not here. You went on vacation.
I know. I did go away for a weekend, but it wasn't like, it was the weirdest thing though. Like, everything's closed. We literally sat in a hotel room and looked at the ocean. It's like, oh, there's the ocean. Hi, ocean. There's birds. You're afraid to be around the people. Like, all the stores that we went to, there was only a couple open, and they were like, you could only come in 5 at a time. You could only allow a certain number of people in. You have to wear masks. And like, you can't, like, they were like, oh, well, we can allow one more person. And we're like, well, we're together. We'll just wait. It was very weird. Like, yeah, I don't recommend it. It's actually more depressing, I think. Like, having it be so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, now that I've just depressed everyone, I'm sorry. It's that kind of a year, I guess, where I just like keep devolving into like, well, this sucks. Oh yeah, like most of the restaurants that I've seen or been near, like we don't even go in. Like, I don't want to eat inside a restaurant, and most of them say they won't serve sick a party of 6. Like, well, that's the whole family. So guess we don't all eat. I don't know. So it's weird. I miss things like going out to restaurants and eating. Like, not that I can eat much, but it's just the thought of like, well, I guess that's an option we can't have. The car picnics got depressing. We stopped doing that. We would like go get food and then sit and eat it in the car, and it's just like, I don't want to eat in the car. It's sad. I don't know. Like, we go out and take walks and stuff and get fresh air, but like just not being able to go and do all the things we were used to being able to do. I don't know. It's just been very weird. So, yay for books and the internet, because honestly, I keep thinking like, if this happened in the 90s, I would have been a mess. Like, I would have been like crawling up the walls, stir crazy. Like, I remember when I was like 13 or 14, we got snow. Like, we had a snowstorm. I used to live in Virginia, and we had a snowstorm, and like our street got barricaded because the street I lived on was in my city, and then this street over here was in a different town. This town decided to plow and barricaded our street, and no one came and did ours. So we were just stuck for like, I think it was almost a week. No school. We couldn't leave because it was like a wall of snow at the end of our road. And I was like freaking out. I started writing on my walls like, I need help. Get me out. I was such a dramatic child. Picture Regina freaking out and writing like, help me on the wall.
I'm surprised she hasn't started doing that.
I know.
Yet.
I'm surprised too. But like, I remember being like in a panic, and like the day that like we were able to dig out, like enough of the people on our street got out their like garden shovels and just started digging the thing. So it was a whole ridiculous thing. But that's how I feel sometimes. Like, teenage me in a panic because I want to leave. Oh my gosh, yeah, what would you do without Amazon and being able to order things online? That's what's kept me sane, honestly, is like, well, at least I can still buy things. At least I can still shop and buy stuff I don't actually need. Although I would say I've been at least a little bit less ridiculous. Like, we don't go out shopping as much, so I'm not as likely to like fill a cart at Target every weekend, but I still probably buy too much. But it makes me feel like I'm still living in the real world when I can still buy things. I don't know.
Probably the best part of this whole situation is just virtual events, like virtual concerts, virtual book signings, all of that. It's been fantastic because I could never go to these things in real life for the most part. Most of them are too far away, so being able to go to events online is really cool.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty cool too. Also, and this is the thing I've been saying for years that I wish would happen, but having movies premiere on streaming services has been just like, this is great. I hate going to the movies. I don't like being stuck in a tiny, like, obnoxious seat with my, like, I always end up uncomfortable. And I always get a headache in the movie theater because it's so loud and so bright and just too much sensory. I don't like it. It like, I literally get really terrible headaches every time I go to the movie theater. So we only go for like important movies, like something I've been hyped for a long time. And I've like hyped myself up enough that I can handle going to the movies. So I hate it. But I like to watch movies. So having them premiere streaming, I'm like, we should just do this forever. Like, no more movie theaters. Just give me the movies at home where I can sit on my couch in comfort. I can pause it and go to the bathroom if I need to. I can make my own snacks that I can actually eat. It's great. I want that to stay a thing. That's like maybe one of the best things to come out of all of this is that now I can watch movies from home when they premiere. I think that's great. I'll spend 20-30 bucks if it's a movie that I really wanted to see, to just be able to stay home and watch it here. So there have been some silver linings, I guess. It's not all terrible yet. I almost grabbed your tea, Sarah. I would have been very disappointed.
Please don't drink my tea.
I don't like your tea.
You don't?
No, I didn't like that.
Oh.
It's a weird pumpkin spice, but it's like the Rubio's. I don't think I like Rubio's tea. It's weird. Oh no, Mickey, did they cancel your Halloween? I don't know if our Halloween is canceled yet. I keep saying, my daughter asks me like every single day, are we going to trick or treat? Like, I honestly don't know. They haven't said it yet. We're still waiting. I think they're going to wait until like the day before just to be obnoxious to make a decision. But I've been preparing her like, well, you might not be able to, but we'll trick or treat at home.
I mean,
I don't know.
I can't envision a fun, good way to trick or treat.
No,
it
just
like,
I don't know. It's
you
not.
can't go up to a person's door. Like
No,
I wouldn't feel comfortable.
Like, I wouldn't want to be that close to a person. So
I wouldn't feel comfortable going up to someone's door. I also wouldn't feel comfortable with little kids going up to my door. That doesn't seem like a good
I don't
scenario.
think it'll work. So I'm preparing her.
So like just like putting a bowl of candy on the end of your driveway.
Yeah.
And just hoping
Well,
for
I
the
saw
best.
the one with like the tunnel, the tube thing, and you just like shoot the candy down the. I thought that was fun, but we don't have a way to do that. So not everyone has a porch set up for that, so that doesn't always work. Like go to like the tallest window in your house and stick it out that and just like fling candy out of your window.
It's like a basket system. We have to basket because it goes down.
Do a pulley system. That's too complicated. I don't know. So I don't know what we're gonna do. I've been telling her so far that, you know, even if we can't trick or treat, we can still eat candy. We can still watch fun movies. It'll still be a fun night. Like we'll do something. And she wants to dress up. Do you still have in the closet that like princess dress that's like the old-fashioned princessy dress? Yes.
I might still have it.
Because she wants to be one of the Sanderson sisters. And I'm like, I might have a dress for that. But I don't know if we ever got rid of it.
I don't remember. I have to look for it.
That's her goal, is she wants to be a Sanderson sister, like for Halloween, but also in real life. She just thinks that they are the best. That's her favorite Halloween movie, is Hocus Pocus. And so that's what her goal is, to dress up as this year. I don't know. We'll see. If we're not going anywhere, I'm not going to make it into a big thing. She can just wear a dress and maybe find a wig somewhere.
It's probably our longest live show.
It has been. Like, we've been just rambling, honestly. We should probably wrap this up. So we're going to go. I know. I'm just like on a ramble fest today. I'm so scatterbrained right now. I can't stay on topic even if I tried. So that's just been me for the last little while. So anyway, we're going to go. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and talking about Mexican Gothic, even though we only talked about that for like the first 20 minutes. I hope I see you guys again next month in November, probably at the beginning of November, when we'll be discussing The Night Watch by Sarah Waters. So we'll see you then, or I'll see you then, because Sarah won't be here for that. So anyway, see you guys later. Happy reading.
Bye.
Bye.